Hi guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here with another video, and this video is specially dedicated to all the beginners out there. And in this video I'm going to tell you about the very basics of Unity. Uh, for those who are making new games, they should know that what are the components of Unity and how the project is made, different sort of things. So first of all, you have to go to the Unity Hub. Make sure that you have Unity and Unity Hub installed because that makes the process easy for you. And from where you can download Unity and Unity Hub, I'll provide you the link in description. But it's just simple that you have to go to the official website of Unity, and from there you can get all the stuff. So this is Unity Hub, and here we are having four different sections. One is the projects, then is the installs, then is the learn, and here is the community. Now, in projects, you can add a new project or open the existing ones. Here in the list, you can see that the projects on which I have worked. Uh, so all the projects are displayed like this, and here is the editor version. And in the installs, this is official releases, pre-releases, and all the installed versions that are available on your system. So one important thing that I want to mention here is the LTS. Always download and install the Unity version that is LTS. LTS stands for the long-term support. So, because if you are going to download any version that is not LTS, making projects in that version is not much appreciated. So this is all about projects and installs. And here, this is the learn section in which you can see featured, recommended, downloaded. Right now, it's not visible in here, but in learn you can see some different courses through which you can learn different things about Unity. So it is good to keep yourself updated with that too. And here's the community section in which they update you about the current stuff. Here you can see the Unity forums, discussions, Unity blog, but Learn and community is generally the least used part of Unity Hub. Part that is most used is installs and projects. So first you have to go to installs and you have to install the editor. And in editor, you are going to see the list of editors that you can install. So I have here 2022.3.4.2 LTS and these versions. I have installed this one, and these I can install 2021. And here's a Unity 6, that is the latest version, but it's not mature yet, so I don't appreciate installing that. So I have installed 2022.3.42. Okay, so this is a little bit about Unity Hub and how the projects are made. So now let's get started with making a new project. For all the beginners, you have to just click on the new project, and here you are going to see all templates different. Um, this is the 3D built-in render pipeline that we are going to use. Other than that, if you have to make a 2D project, you have 2D built-in render pipeline. Now, what is built-in render pipeline? There are different pipelines available. There is universal render pipeline. There is high definition render pipeline, which is known as HDRP. But for the beginners, it is appreciated to use the very basic one because first you have to learn about the Unity and then you can move forward. And you see Universal 3D, which is URP, and this is HDRP, and then there's the option of AR, VR as well. So let's get started with the 3D built-in render pipeline, which is the default Unity render pipeline. And let's name our project uh, test project. Okay, and here's the location. You can browse and choose a different one, but I'm okay with this. So let's just create simply on create project. Okay, here it says unable to create project. Let me see what's the issue in here. Why is it saying like that? Okay, so sorry, I figured out that what was the issue. I have actually uninstalled this version 2021 because it was the older version, and here I have the newer version. This is 2022.3, and now for sure I'll be able to create the project. So this is the test project, 3D render pipeline, 3D built-in render pipeline, and let's just click on create project. And yes, here we go. So it will take a little time in creating the project. And now our project is opening. So let's wait for it. Okay, yes. So now the project is created. This is the default sample scene that is created on its own. And first, I want to tell you that what are the different components of Unity. Before we start making the game, we have to understand that how it works. We have several windows, each having its own function and each controlling different thing. First of all, we have here the hierarchy window, then we have the inspector window, then we have the project window, and here we have the console window. So to simplify it, let me change the layout a little, and I'll make project one column layout, and I'll put project in here like this and console here like this. This is our game window, and this is our scene window. Okay, so one by one, I'm going to tell you that what each window does. Okay, let's say you have to use 3D models in your game, you have to use some images in your game, and you need different assets in your game. So where all those assets will be saved, that is the project window. Project windows holds all the assets. Like right now here you can see by default there's this folder named as assets, and right now it only contains scenes in which this sample scene is saved. Now to show you guys, I'm gonna show you that how can we create stuff. So I've clicked on assets, then on create, and then let's say I have to enter here some material or scene or text or what. From where shall we start? Let's say we are going to add another scene, another than sample scene. So we are going to click on scene, and the default name will be new scene. So let's name it test scene. And here we have saved. Now to maintain the hierarchy, we have the options that we can create subfolders in here, like how there's the folder of scenes already present in here. Or if you don't want to do that, you can simply just put whatever you have to put inside the assets. So right now we are working on the sample scene or the test scene. Let's go on to the test scene. And here the test scene is open. So the sum up is that project window holds all the assets, and this is packages. Packages, it's a different thing. Uh, it's basically all the packages, all the kits that you're using. For example, if you are making a third person game, you have to install Unity standard assets or some external kit. So you will go to the package manager and then you're going to download it. Right now, I do not talk about it because I don't want to make it difficult for the beginners. So here we have packages and assets. Let's leave packages for now, but understand that project holds all the assets of the game. Okay, now here comes the hierarchy window. In hierarchy window, whatever you have in your game scene, that will be present, And let's say in test scene, we decide to place a cube. So here we are. By default, you will see that there will be a main camera and directional light. Main camera definitely to capture the scene, and directional light to add a little light to your scene so that it doesn't look so dark. But right now I'm going to add a 3D object, that is cube. And here you can see that we have created a cube. The reason you are able to see two cubes, this is the scene where we actually work and change the size and placement of the objects, while this is the game view, that how after placing everything, how things are rendered in your game, how your game actually looks like. It will be displayed in the game window, whereas in the scene window, you can change the properties of the object. So how can we control different things like size, scale, and everything? Here we have another window. It's just a very little window and it holds all the tools. Okay, this is the view tool. Now you can change it like this. I'm just giving a little demo so you guys can understand. Okay, now this is the move tool. Through this, you can move the object and see simultaneously it's also moving in the game view. But you can see that the direction is different. We are moving it like this in here, and on in the game view, it's coming forward and backward. Why is that so? That here we have this direction controller. It basically changes the view in the scene view. This is the Y component, and this is the x-axis, this is the z-axis, and this is the W1. Okay, so when you click on the center, the view becomes isometric, the orientation, and when you click again, it becomes perspective. So generally, the perspective is used because we work in the 3D world, but if you have to maintain the same view as the game view, so what you will have to do is you have to click in here, and your x-axis must be here, y-axis must be here, and z must be here. And I have pressed the Alt key, and I have pressed on the screen, right clicked plus Alt key, and this is the view I'm able to manage. So if you have to change the orientation, you can click here as well, and also you can press the Alt key and right click, and the view will be managed. Okay, so if you have to make the exact appearance like game view, so just click here and here, and this is view tool. Let's make it like this. Now you will feel that our cube is moving the same way in the game view and also in the scene view. Just move it like this. See? In the game view, it's also moving right and left, and also in the scene view. Okay, a lot about the move tool. Move tool, this is the red line, this is the green and blue, and it controls the position. Here is the x-axis, y and z. Now you can also move the cube through this move tool, and also if you directly change the values in here, for example, right now it's 0.09. I'm decreasing it so it's moving to the left side, and I'm increasing it so it's moving to the right. And similarly, y is right now 0. Let's increase y, so our cube is going to move upwards. But let's set it to the default, which is 000. And if you have to get any object restored to the original position, just click here, the three dots that you're seeing, and click on reset. Now all the values are back to 0. Okay, after the move tool, here is the rotate tool. Rotate tool is relatively harder, not harder, but you have to understand that in the scene view, you can easily change the direction like this. Uh, the object is also moving like this wherever you want to move it. But in the inspector window, where you are seeing this transform, here the rotation is changing a little differently. Sometimes you don't track that how which color and which color is controlling which axis. So here you can see in the window. So let's again reset it to default values. And now these are basically the Euler angles, and they are controlled in from here. Now in rotation, while you are dealing with the Euler angles, you also have another angle over here, but let's just not talk about it right now because I'm afraid that it will become too complex for beginners. So it's simple right now that you change the position rotation uh, through these tools in here and also through the inspector. After that, this is the scaling tool. This increases the y-axis, this increases the x-axis, and this blue one increases the z-axis, right? And as I've mentioned before, you can also change the values from here. So resetting them back to the original. This is the Rect tool. Now, Rect tool, what it does is that it also changes the scale, but it also changes the position as well, as you can see in the inspector. Now, why is Rect tool changing the position and the scale simultaneously, while the other tools are only targeting a particular component? This is happening because here is the pivot, the circle that you're seeing in here. This circle basically determines the position of an object. So when you just click on the Rect tool also changes that pivot, right? So now the pivot is changing in the z-axis. So here you can see the overall position of the object is changed here in the z direction. But again, I think that you guys would have understood. And now I'm changing the y-axis. So similarly, the scale and the position are changing. And if let's say I'm changing it in x-axis, sim so very similar to y and z-axis, axis is also changing. And again, restoring it back to the default. Okay, so this is the transform tool plus plus the rotation and plus the scale. So what this tool is doing, this is completely changing the transform tool. What is transform? Here you can see the heading of transform, and under the heading of transform, there are three things: position, rotation, and scale. So when you click on this transform tool, it targets all the three things. And this is edit bounding value. Now I'll tell you what this uh, function is doing, or this tool is doing here. Whenever you create an object, there will be a collider attached to it. Now, collider has some different purposes, which later on in this video I'm going to explain. Collider is just a little overview about the collider, that it helps you in making collisions as the name indicates, but there are also some other conditions if you have to make collisions. In detail, I'm going to tell those later, but collider, as the name reflects, is meant for collision. Now, at times, You want things to be collided. Uh, let's say this is the entire cube, but you only want that the collision should happen only on this side of the cube and not on the other sides. What you're going to do is that there is another scale provided for the to resize the collider, and this is in here. See, I have reduced the collider only to this face of the cube, and now it will only affect this side. Now, whenever we have to make a collision will only be detected through this component, through where you have sized your collider using this tool. Now, the collision won't be happening on the entire cube, but only on the part that is specified through this tool. Now, let's say you want the collision to happen outside the collider. Let's say there is some ball that is going to touch this cube, but before it's going to touch this, it will come and collide in here, and it will bounce back or whatever the physics behavior will be. The reason that I'm telling you is this, that this is a very important factor in Unity. Whenever you have to manage collisions, this collider is an important part, so you have to very carefully size it. And let's say if you have to place a cube and you don't want any collision to happen, so you can simply just uncheck it. And there are other conditions if you have to make collision happen. One is that the collider must be attached to both of the objects that are colliding, and the other is that one of them should be a rigid body. This is, I have just told so that there can be no confusion, but what is a rigid body and how it works, what is its purpose, that will be explained to you guys later. So right now, I just want to explain you that what is the hierarchy window, what is the project window, and what is the inspector window. I have explained the hierarchy window and project window very, I think, in great detail, but inspector window is not explained to you guys in much comprehensive manner, so I would like to tell more about it. Now, whatever object you create in the hierarchy window, all of its properties will be reflected here in the inspector window. For example, we just created a cube in here, and all the properties of the cube, its transform properties, which holds the position rotation scale, is here. Now, this cube is actually made up of a mesh, right? Here you can see that when we click here, eh, this is shaded. Now these are different rendering modes of the object, that if you have to see, we are seeing the complete cube over here, how we see in the real world. But let's say you have to see the wireframe, that how this cube is made and in a different view. So you can see it in here. This is the wireframe view, and this is the shaded wireframe, that here the cube is not only showing the wireframe, but also it is shaded like how it's shaded in the real world. But generally, we use the mode shaded. Okay. So what I was telling you was that the cube is actually a mesh. Mesh is the shape of the object. Now, whatever the shader and whatever the color or appearance, maybe that is a different thing, but what is the geometry of an object, that the mesh tells us. The mesh actually tells us about the geometry of the object. For example, if we create another 3D object in here and we click on sphere, you see, now we are having two objects. And here also in the game view, you can see that we are having another. And let's move it to this side so you can clearly see that we are having two objects. Now there will be a difference in the mesh of cube and mesh of sphere. See? The sphere is having a round spherical geometry, obviously, while the cube is having a cube geometry. And this also is an important thing in complex 3D models because complex 3D models have totally different mesh. So uh, these are the basic things that I'm telling you. Now, after that, you have applied mesh is by default added to the custom uh, to the sorry, the mesh is by default added in all the shapes. And then there is another component which is also by default added, and that is the mesh renderer. Going back to the cube, let's see what is mesh renderer. As the name reflects that there will be a mesh of the object, and what the renderer is going to do, it will render that mesh. While rendering that mesh, there will be some properties that are taken into account. One is the material. Material is the color or appearance or how the external look will be. For now, you can consider it the color, right? So right now it's having the default material, lighting, whether this object is going to cast shadows or not. In here, the default value is on. Whether this object will receive shadows or not, it is in here. And then these are some complex properties, a little new, little complex for the beginners. So let's just leave them. So, and the other property of the cube is the box collider. This is another component attached to it by default. So inspector is holding all the properties of a particular object. So I think this is it about the inspector also. And this is it for the video as well. But we are going to discuss further that how things work. And we are going to do that by practically making a game. This video actually was targeting on the basics so that you can understand the window, that how Unity works. And these are the three most important windows, and other than that is the game view and the scene view, about which I also mentioned. This is the console window in which you generally see the logs, the error messages, but that happens when you're working on the C sharp script. So that will also be discussed in later videos. This is it for now, and I hope you like the video. So just subscribe the channel and like the video. And if there are any questions, always feel free to ask me. Thank you so much. Bye bye.